Hi, my name is Rose Mogus, and the company that I did my social media marketing analysis on was the Center for Renewed Minds. The Center for Renewed Minds is a locally owned mental health clinic that was established in 2020. So this is a relatively new company. The center's goal is to provide a holistic approach to mental health by finding the root causes of an individual's problems and equipping the clients with the techniques to live a healthy, whole life. It provides clinical mental health counseling, continuing education, consulting, and drug-free workplace trainings. The company is also working on integrating what's called trauma release exercises, as well as tapping and mindfulness-based approach to stress reduction. The company is located in Uniontown, Ohio. So the Center for Renewed Minds believes that every individual deserves to live a healthy whole life, and finding that place is a different process for every individual. By providing a range of different services, the individual can have specific goals met and help get them to that healthy lifestyle. So the Center for Renewed Minds helps individuals heal from the past in their mind, body, and soul. The need for mental health care. In 2021, there were over 100,000 deaths by overdose. And the previous year, there were only 78,000 deaths by overdose. So we can see that there's been an increase, and this is an increase not just from 2020 to 2021, but it's been an increasing cause of death over the past few years. In June of 2020, 40% of adults reported at least one adverse mental health condition. A majority of these were anxiety or depressive disorders. And there was also a 13% increase of substance abuse to cope with the pandemic in adults. So a little bit more about the company when we're thinking about a target audience or for social media marketing, the individuals that we might be trying to target. Again, it's in Uniontown, Ohio. So we think of the surrounding areas of Canton, Massillon, North Canton, and Greene. Which all of these cities, when you look at demographics, are composed of a majority of white individuals. Canton City has the highest population of Black individuals at 24.3%, and the lowest medium income at $32,287. North Canton and Greene have the highest medium incomes. And then again, when we're looking at demographics, Greene and North Canton have an Asian alone population of 2.2%. Canton also has the highest population of two or more races at 6%. And then Greene and North Canton have the highest percent of individuals with a bachelor's degree. And then when we're looking at clientele in general, it's typically working or middle class individuals seeking mental health counseling. The Center for Renewed Minds has also seen an increase in the amount of children coming in for mental health care. And so that's another thing to keep in mind when we're doing social media marketing or social media projects, that we can target youth for some of the videos or blogs or things like that. When we're thinking about competition in the area of North Canton, there's the Gentle Shepherd and Coleman. And there's some facts on here about these, but the Gentle Shepherd was established in 1997. It's a Christian-based counseling center, and it offers group therapy, which the Center for Renewed Minds does not. Coleman is a nationally recognized mental health service provider. They offer inpatient services. Now, some of these different clinics, they are utilizing social media. Some have Facebook, some have TikTok. A lot of them, for a majority, have Facebook and Instagram, but some of them just use these as kind of a platform to shove out information. So they're not really engaging customers. So that's one thing that the Center for Renewed Minds could do really well, is to start to engage clientele online and start those conversations about mental health. Because when looking through some of these different companies, they're just kind of pushing out information, or some of them talk about events that they're having, but there's not always a lot of conversation about them, about mental health, or even warning signs or preventative measures that could be taken. Or if you're somebody who is worried about an individual, like, there's so much room for growth as far as like mental health help in the social media realm. So back to our competition, ComQuest, North Canton Therapy Works. Again, ComQuest has been around for a long time. They're really specialized in addiction and detox services. They also have residential care. North Canton Therapy Works is privately owned. One service they offer that the Center for Renewed Minds doesn't is they go into schools and talk about mental health issues. So again, working with youth, engaging them with social media to talk about mental health in a healthy way, I think is really important. Vista Psychological and Counseling Center, also known as Vista Psychology, is again in North Canton. They offer a wide variety of services. And then Phoenix Rising is a nonprofit behavioral health care agency, and they offer like case management services. So when we do a SWOT analysis of the social media marketing and social media usage for the Center for Renewed Minds, there's some things that stand out and definitely some improvements that could be made. Some of the strengths include engaging customers in TikTok videos, having occasional contests where customers can interact. There's good reviews on Google with a high SEO. When Googling the Center for Renewed Minds, it comes up in those top 3 searches. So there's definitely a great SEO. And then the website ties to Facebook and Instagram. Now, on the weaknesses side, when posting, the Center for Renewed Minds isn't really pushing people back to the website. So there's one area that could be improved. Also, the frequency of social media posts could definitely be improved. And due to a small staff, I think that there's not as much social media usage that really is possible. There's only a few reviews on Google. So they're good reviews, but there's not a lot of reviews. Currently, there's no use of social media analytics. And again, small staff, so figuring out the best way to handle social media. There's a huge amount of opportunities, as I've already kind of addressed, blogs, YouTube videos, just engaging in TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram could be really beneficial. Starting to have conversations about mental health in a healthy way. So obviously lots of social media sites available. Some of the other companies are only shooting out information. So really engaging customers could bring back those customers to schedule sessions or things like that. The market needs for mental health facilities. So in some of those statistics that I talked about earlier, there's a huge need for mental health help. And so having some of those resources available online, I think could be really beneficial. Some of the threats is several of the other small companies do use social media more regularly. Again, it's kind of just those information posts, but the usage is more regular. Also, there's online only counseling companies that have a lot more revenue available to spend. They probably have a social media marketer or a whole division for that, where the Center for Renewed Minds only has 3 individuals that currently work for the company. So there's not as much manpower or revenue available as some of those bigger companies. And so when we're thinking about the zones of social media marketing and looking at the different zones and how the Center for Renewed Minds is utilizing these, they have a Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. They also have a YouTube channel. Improvements that could be made is just more regular posts and engaging in that dialogue. And I think one way to do this is to create a campaign that invites others to share stories about mental health, whether their successes or their struggles. I think that's important to have those conversations and just get people talking about mental health. Social publishing, they have a YouTube channel and they create videos and podcasts to share. They could be more engaging with customers. So I think even doing some lives on Facebook or having it's called tapping, but it's a stress reduction exercise. They could have videos available on YouTube for that. Just sharing warning signs for different mental health illnesses, or maybe when to seek help, or even just some preventative measures that you could take. These are all kind of videos that could be posted online. Again, because there's more youth coming in, you could even do these to more school-based situations, maybe to give to teachers to use in their classroom too. Sharing a blog would be a really great idea for this. Okay, and so then for social entertainment, this area is definitely one that could use improvement, but there's several ways to improve. So again, doing videos or lives where maybe you talk about games, you could do trivia games or things like that, or maybe just creating a space for people to connect and engage, because loneliness is one of those things that can contribute to depression and sometimes anxiety. So having a safe mental health space, I think, could be something that you could utilize and start to work in. Also, one thing that you could do is create, I don't want to say a game, but almost like a simulation where maybe if somebody doesn't have a lot of knowledge about mental health, you could create a simulation to kind of help individuals who have maybe not experienced or don't understand substance abuse or depression, where they kind of go through a simulation to see what it's like to be a person with one of those diagnoses. So they have a better understanding, because I think, knowledge is power. And so enabling people to understand that better, I think there's a lot of space for that. And then for social commerce, this is another area that could be improved, but the Center for Renewed Mind does continuing education in person. So they could do continuing education videos online where maybe you have a subscription to a library once a big enough amount of content is created, or you pay per video, but it's a good way to get some revenue generated where maybe you don't have to always see that person in person or via telehealth, but you could generate some revenue from having a library of content. So when we're looking at all of this information, the Center for Renewed Minds is still in a phase of testing out social media. So one thing I think the company really needs to improve on their use of social media. The company has some interactions on Facebook and some on Instagram, but really there needs to be some improvement. Consistency, I think, is key. There's a good SEO, but they could improve SMO. So really that social media optimization, just kind of connecting all of their sites so that there is more interaction, could be really beneficial. And I think overall the company just needs to decide on their goals for social media marketing. Because right now there's a plethora of opportunities, but the company really needs to decide where they're going to go, since there's not a huge budget, since it is a small company. So some of the problems, again, not engaging customers, a small staff to manage the social media marketing. So I think that there needs to be some discussions about who's going to be in charge of social media marketing and what that looks like. Again, I feel like the company is in the exploration phase. They're not really committed. And so I think just creating a plan and sticking to that plan is a huge step. And that's kind of the first step. And again, just deciding those overall goals and metrics that are going to be used to make sure that those goals are being completed. So the Center for a Renewed Mind has continued to increase revenue since its opening in 2020. Again, it's only been open for 2 years, has a small staff, but with that revenue increase, it would be good to set some of that money aside or to portion some of that money to use for social media marketing. One of the things that they could do is possibly use a social media marketing management tool like Hootsuite to have more regular posts and to manage those posts. So creating a social media calendar, things like that. But I think, again, creating this budget. And as more clientele is drawn in from that social media marketing, making sure that a portion of that money coming in is set aside for the purposes of continuing to create social media content, as well as push the social media content that's being created. So again, overall goals need to be set. And these are some of the questions that the company can think about. What social media sites will be utilized? Where can the company grow and improve? What improvements can be made? Where can more content be created? How can the center better connect created content? So when we're thinking about Facebook and Instagram, how can we link these back to the website or link these to each other so that more individuals are interacting and connecting? And then what metrics should be used to measure the growth? Again, more regularly using the social media. And so I think just creating more dialogue and making sure that there's regular posts. So I think a good thing would be to figure out with the clientele what kind of times in the day are they most likely to engage in social media, and really start to post and create content or post content during those times, so that it's more likely that customers would engage. And then create and implement a social media campaign. I think one thing that the center could do is do like a mental health campaign for the area of Canton or Stark County, and really get Stark County talking about mental health, and maybe even engaging with some of these other local companies to have that conversation about mental health. And again, talking about that holistic model that they are focused on. So again, some of the outcomes and things to work on. The Center for Renewed Minds will utilize the social media marketing management system, Hootsuite. This will help them to create content more consistently, creating that social media calendar so that Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of those things can be created and sent out, as well as interacting or creating that dialogue with customers. To begin a social media campaign in 2023, summer of 2023. So start to talk to customers about sharing little pieces of their story and creating videos with that, just to share again about mental health, and maybe using a hashtag like mental health Stark County or Stark County mental health, hashtag break the stigma, which is already a hashtag that's used, but it's pretty popular. So this could just be a way to engage in that already popular conversation. And outcomes continued. So again, utilizing social media management, and then using more social media site activity with clients online. So again, creating more spaces. So whether that's a blog, being more regular with a podcast, or creating different types of videos. So like we talked about, using the tapping, using mindfulness to reduce stress, creating videos that maybe talk to youth about how do you recognize if your friend is having suicidal thoughts, and what do you do? When do you talk to adult about that? If you're having these symptoms, maybe you have anxiety or depression, it's important to bring it up to an adult or talk to an adult about this. So I just think that there's a lot of areas to improve. And I think the main thing for the Center for Renewed Minds to do is to create some goals for their social media, since they are kind of a baby company and still figuring out how they want to utilize these sites. I think setting those goals is the number one thing. And then from there, really deciding which types of content and which types of sites are going to best engage clientele and help clientele. Since this is a mental health clinic and it's about getting people to a place of being whole again, I think not only thinking about engaging people, but again, the more people you engage, the more people hopefully you're helping. So really honing in on that target market, creating the content for those target markets, and then pushing out that content. And then these are my references. So thank you so much for watching.